I suspect it was also less expensive than giving them greater compensation, Tug added. Indeed, Mr. Dumar agreed. He looked back at Captain Scott, who still didn't appear to comprehend the urgency of the situation. Captain, the comm drone that the Lornoi sent at the start of the battle contained little useful information. It was probably little more than an announcement that the Darvino system had declared its succession from the Empire and that they were going to battle. Even if they had transmitted their action telemetry to that point, they would have seen only a few jumps on your part, enough for the Ta'akar to recognize the jump drive's existence, but not enough to determine its true capabilities, let alone your battle tactics. If the Lornoi's captain and his command staff escape and make it back to Takara, the entire Imperial fleet will soon know of your tactics and will be prepared to counter them. I see your point, Nathan conceded. But I'm not sure I want to risk a boarding party just yet. Couldn't we just park some fighters around her and intercept her command lifeboat if they launch it? Put yourself in her captain's shoes, Mr. Dumar continued. After seeing what the Aurora is capable of, you would take measures to avoid capture. Like going FTL immediately after launch, Jessica interrupted. And taking a different route home, Cameron added. Maybe even doing multiple FTL hops just to cover your tracks. Nathan sighed. We should have cracked that ship wide open when we had the chance. No, Mr. Dumar insisted. That ship has only been on patrol for a few months, which means her command staff probably has first-hand knowledge of the current state of the Empire, and if her captain is well connected within the Ta'akar nobility, he could know even more, Tug interrupted. Fleet strength, ship positions, maybe even the ZPED upgrade schedules. Wouldn't that information be compartmentalized? Jessica asked. Yes, but you would be surprised at how much the upper levels of nobility discuss such things, Mr. Dumar insisted. It is a matter of pride with them, as if knowing something the other does not proves you are of higher status. Mr. Dumar shook his head. They are an arrogant bunch, both intelligent and ignorant at the same time. Nathan considered Mr. Dumar's words as well as those of everyone else in the room. He remembered the last time the Aurora had sent a boarding party to an enemy ship that hadn't fully surrendered. That had been just outside of the Sol system after doing their first test jump out from the orbit of Jupiter. After destroying the first Jung gunship, Captain Roberts had severely crippled the second gunship. He had then decided to board the disabled ship. That had not turned out well, as the crew of that gunship had purposefully overloaded their antimatter reactor in a desperate effort to destroy the Aurora along with their own ship. That explosion had led to their superjump all the way to the Pantorus cluster, over 1,000 light-years away from Earth. That had been several months ago, but the moment still haunted him. He had been at the helm at the time and had always wondered if he had made some small error, or if some tiny delay on his part had made the difference that had hurled them so far from home. The idea that the Jung might have been tipped off about the jump test, an idea that had only come to him later, also haunted him. Nathan contemplated their situation. They had suffered considerable damage during the battle to defend the Darvino system, but they were still space-worthy and ready to fight. Unfortunately, the Darvino system's primary planet, Coronair, had been bombarded once again, and they had lost all contact with Coronair military command. He had no doubt that the situation on Coronair was once again chaotic, and that soon the crew of the Aurora would need to do what they could to help. At the very least, they needed to re-establish contact with their new allies. As much as he didn't like the idea of a risky boarding action, he agreed it had to be done. Any idea how we're going to get on board? He asked Jessica. The Coronari brought breach boxes with them, Jessica stated. Breach boxes? Nathan wondered. They clamp onto the hull of a ship to create a pressurized seal, Mr. Dumar explained. The ones used by the Ta'akar have plasma cutters that can usually breach most hulls in a relatively short amount of time. However, the ones used by the Coronari are somewhat older and are most effective when placed over an existing hatch. And the Coronari brought these breach boxes with them? Nathan asked, somewhat surprised. I thought they might come in handy, Cameron defended. Since we had no idea how the battle might progress, I wanted to be ready for every possible contingency. How many of these things did they bring? 6 of them, Cameron answered. I suggest we use them all, Jessica stated. With their sensors down, they won't even know we're out there. If we crack them open from all sides at the same time, they won't have a chance. Perhaps, Nathan agreed. But I'd prefer not to